Black Orcs are not simply armoured orcs, they are a distinct subrace. Indeed, a Black Orc is very different to the standard orc boy. Black Orcs are the largest, meanest and strongest of all orcs. They get their names from their dark green skin as well as their dour demeanour. Black Orcs are grim and singularly focused on war. Where other orcs will fight in between battles, Black Orc regiments use the time between them to sharpen weapons, replace broken equipment, and the origins of them are a mystery. At least that's according to Imperial records. In reality, the Black Orcs were twisted by dark magics of the Chaos Dwarves to be more lethal and more capable than their common brethren. The Black Orcs rebelled, killed the captors and moved back to leadership positions of orc tribes and then began to blight the old world. So I really like Black Orcs. It's a fighting subsect within what is already a warlike race. From a lore perspective, they're really cool, and having big armoured orcs about is something that I'm fully behind. So looking at various different options for models, you've got the old world orcs, you've also got all your 3D printed options, be it Highland miniatures, Avatars of War, I've got some awesome ones as well. But for a start state, I'm going to look at the Ironjaws models that came out, I think last year, but it might already be 2 years now. I love the Ironjaws models. They're really bulky and they look the part in terms of being Black Orcs. The problem that I've got with them is their armour style is completely different to everything else that you see from the Orcs and Goblins range. Now, where this isn't necessarily a problem, I think that they would fit in more as the original Black Orcs, as the slaves of the Chaos Dwarves. Now that they've rejoined their other orcish brethren, I think we need something that fits the armour style of the rest of the race. So that's going to be the premise of today's conversion. After building our first Black Orc, the things that really strike me that need to be worked on are weapons being really jagged and different. The armour, again, is really jagged if you compare it to this boy here. Elsewhere, there's no real banner. They've got like a back banner thing, but that's not quite what we look for. I need a musician, and then the helmets as well. Now I'll be using the original helmets, all ones of a similar aesthetic, and likewise these shields aren't in keeping with the style that we want, so I'll be going for more original shields. Clearly as a start we're going to be pulling out our own square bases. I just get these from eBay. And I base these using Miliput and a texture roller. The reason why I'm showing this first is because these models are a pain to rank up next to each other. So you need to make sure that before you've fully built all the models, you just make sure that you can test where they're sitting next to each other and that they fit neatly within ranks. The first aesthetic change that we're going to do is we're going to essentially flatten the detail out of the shoulders. We're going to use a large amount of Miliput to, yes, create a bit more bulk to these shoulders, but also just kind of get rid of all of those individual divots. We're also looking to create a more regular shape to this than what you've got on the Ironjaws, essentially bringing them back into line with the rest of the orc aesthetic. Now I looked at multiple options for fitting shields to these. I looked at the Old World kit as well as some of the ogre stuff, but in the end I really found that the Ardboyz kit itself works really well. However, again, with some of the aggressive details there, it really needs to be just tidied up so that these guys look aesthetically correct. To further help with the theme, I found these heads that I'll leave a link to the STL online. These fit directly onto these Ironjaws bodies, so they are perfect for what we need. As for the banner, I wanted a really dramatic angle, so I took a saw to this orc's arm, and this enabled this angle here. From there, it was a case of covering the banner in as many grimdark components that I had, which real time just means bones and skulls, so really just sticking them on together What came in really nicely here was the skeleton pointing from the Cursed City set that I still had lingering around, and I can't think of a better use for it right now, so on it goes. With a change in the arm, that was him good to go. A bit unhappy about the head though, so I'm going to remove this new head and put one of the heads from the original Black Orc kit on. And with that, he'll be done. The musician was simple enough. I simply filed down the horn from the Ardboyz kit and attached it to his side using some frog tape to make a kind of belt loop. Frog tape's really useful, and I'm going to use it again in a moment. I resolved to give the war boss of this unit 2 hand weapons just by connecting at the wrists from the old Black Orcs kit. Once I decided to do that, it was onto a cloak, and having proven concept using the frog tape, I once again got this out and started to build a cloak. With this, I used a variety of different methods to scuff this up, from using a Dremel tool to a pair of scissors, knife, all sorts, and I was happy with the effect that I got once done. After a few extra details like some extra armour on the shoulders, some skulls here and there, and then some obligatory gut plates where required, we are now ready for painting. I'm pretty happy with this conversion, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it looks once fully painted. Today we're starting with a dark brown base, and we're going to build up from there both for armour and skin. To give dark green skin, we're going to start off with Castellan green, and we're going to really patch this on the main areas of skin. We'll leave small areas of dark brown just for some shading, which we'll then cover with Castellan green, which is a contrast paint. This is good because it gives us that natural shade already. Once we've done this, we'll put a bit of Deathguard green into our original mix and start doing some highlights from there. We can increase the Deathguard green to give it even greater highlights, but for me I want to remain fairly dark with this. Moving on to the metal then, so 2 rust colours, loads of water, pour them all over it, and then once that's dried, dry brush using bolt gun metal, which we now know as lead belcher. This gives a lovely result. However, these are Black Orcs, so the next phase that we want to do is really darken this metal down. To do this, we're going to get a kind of contrast black, or I'm using speed paints by Army Painter black, just to really kind of achieve this effect that we want. What this does is it gives us really dark, grimy Black Orcs, which is perfect. Now onto details. So we've got some bronze bits. We're just going to use some Rune Priest to bring this up. Once we've brought it up, what we need to do is darken it down to make sure that it doesn't contrast with the rest of the model, and I'll be using some Satchel Brown to do this. I'll actually use 3 coats of this. Relatively thin though, just take your time with it. From there, let's get on to the bone. So what we're going to do is go through these are all by Citadel, and in order they are Doombull, Rhinox and Baneblade Browns. The reason why I use these 3, dry brushing with a little bit less each time, is it creates a really ruddy hue that looks really fantastic for bones. And we're just going to keep adding this on top of each other. Like I say, it's a slightly thinner dry brush each one, just to really kind of bake that in. It gives you a really rich bone background that again contrasts really nicely against the dark hues of the rest of the model. Really beautiful effect. Once we've cracked the bone, we're going to go on to the cloaks, of which they've all got little ones. Just a bit of corn red, followed up by some strong tone or agrax, and a kind of brighter red just for the highlights. And you can spread this all over the cloaks. The reason why I'm doing this is because it really brings it into tone with the rest of the army with that kind of red tone. Clearly a little bit of weathering with mud is important as well. Moving straight onto the bases, it's a nice dark grey, dry brushed again over those stones to really kind of bring those out. Once you've got a good coverage on there, then I like to use Dawnstone, which is a little bit brighter, which is going to play against that kind of dark blue grey. And we give this a really lovely dry brush over. It just builds a bit more depth. Once done with that, muddy effect, I use the cheapest brown that I can find, and I get this from Hobbycraft. These satchels that I've just shown there, they cost about, it was about £3 when I bought it, and I've had it for about 4 years, and I use them for basing all models. From there, I want to use my snow effect. So if you don't know, ready to use instant filler, a little bit of water, and then I just spread this liberally over the base, really just aggressively all over the base. Once I've got a really good coverage, then you can either use your fingertip or you can water down the brush and go again, just clearing up some of those details so it's not a complete whitewash. We don't want a painter's radio. So yeah, we just clear up some of the kind of details so you can still see the flagstones underneath. And with the bases done, let's have a look at our finished unit. So here we go, here's our converted front 5 Black Orcs. These are going to be a fantastic addition to the army. I really love this conversion. Elsewhere I've also proven this painting method on some Avatars of War and some typical Black Orc models, and you show that it works really well. Working together, both of these model sets merge in really nicely, so I think that's a good test that have achieved the effect. What's more, these actually roll in really nicely into the rest of the army. As you can see with the kind of cloaks behind, it ties in with some of the rest of the tones. Let's look at how the war's getting on now then. So from our war boss that the last video was shown to the kind of first full unit that we made, including in there the very first model at the back right. We've also got another unit of Ardboyz with double-handed weapons. We've got 2 units of Boarboys, as I showed on the boring episode. And then we've also got our chariot and a troll that those that follow me on Instagram will have seen as well. And then there's our Black Orcs, fitting in very nicely. What do you think I need next though? Let me know in the comments below. Now, I've been loving Warhammer the Old World. This is my first proper army for that setting. Clearly I did fantasy back in the day, but this just feels so much nicer going at it with fresh light. If you've been enjoying these videos, please subscribe. The channel's almost at 800 subscribers right now, and I really want to keep building it and need your help to do that. And there's plenty more to come, both from Ambience, the Old World, as well as bolt action, maybe a bit of 40k. Let's just see where we go. Anyway, I'll see you on the next one.